Hi, I'm Max Walker&Williams, and today I'm going to be talking about HBAR versus ADA by Cardano. I strongly recommend you watch this video all the way through and to the end. It's going to be super informative if you're interested in either or both of these cryptocurrencies, particularly when we start talking about PR power, because it's massive influencer on the cryptocurrency space, and it's something that very few people think about and very few people are talking about. So straight into it. Cost of transacting ADA is 0.155 cent or dollars. So it's 15.5p if you like in the UK, or without the currency fluctuation. And then HBAR is 0.0001 of a cent, so far cheaper. The other thing with ADA is that you also have a secondary cost, and that's 0.00004946 of ADA per byte. And what that means is if you're sending information, so to give you an example, put that in some context for you, a 1 second sound file, so on your computer you might have a song or something, 1 second of that sound file equals 1 megabyte. A megabyte is 1 million bytes. So you times this number by 1 million, and that's the cost of sending a 1 second sound file. So plus the base cost, if you like. So this is the minimum cost of transacting in ADA, plus you've got to work out this calculation. How big is the file? And then you've in bytes, megabytes, whatever, and then you have to times that number by however many bytes it is, and that's the total cost. So it could get quite pricey for a larger file. However, I must say, to be fair, I'm being completely open-minded about both currency. If you follow our channel and have watched my videos, you'll know that I'm a big believer in HBAR, but I'm always looking to improve. So if I find a cryptocurrency that I genuinely believe is better, I'm gonna sell up HBAR and I'm gonna move into the latest, newest thing. I haven't got any emotional investment in HBAR. It's not my personal project. I just believe in the technology, but that doesn't mean that it can't be knocked off the throne in my mind. So this could get expensive, but to be fair to ADA, this isn't for sure yet, and I'll get to why, but the computational layer is still in development. So this doesn't apply yet because you can't transact information, files of information, should I say. Okay, so first point I think clearly goes to Hedera Hashgraph's HBAR, because even if this didn't apply, it's still substantially more expensive, over 100 times more expensive to send ADA than it is to spend HBAR. So again, in previous videos, I've always used the analogy of a Mars bar. If you go to a shop to buy a Mars bar, it would cost you a minimum of 15.5 cents to buy the Mars bar. With HBAR, it would cost you 1/1000th of a dollar. Okay, now, one of the really good things I like about ADA compared to all the other cryptocurrencies, HBAR aside for a second, is that it's a layered blockchain. So Bitcoin is the original first cryptocurrency and it's on one blockchain. ADA is a layered blockchain. What does that mean? Okay, so it means that effectively it's got two blockchains that do two different things, and it frees each one up to be more flexible and also, most importantly, to be quicker. So let me give you a real world example. If you're looking to send ADA to a shopkeeper for a Mars bar, so you're looking to spend ADA or send it to a friend in a different country or whatever, that's that cost there. Now, the reason I said I'd come to this cost later is that you can also, in the computational layer, is currently in development. And that second blockchain is going to allow people to be far more flexible. So what does that mean in real life? Let me explain. Let's say, for example, you have decided that you want to employ somebody to fix a burst water pipe. And you've got a contract that says that he will come to your house and he will do the job for a set price in a set time, so on and so forth. And you've got a contract of employment, for example, to employ this plumber to fix your burst pipe. You would create that contract, computational layer of ADA, and then once that contract is completed, once the man has come to your house or lady has come to your house and fixed your burst pipe and done the good job, that then drops into the second blockchain of this settlement layer, and the chap who did the contract gets paid. So the reason it's important that it's adaptable is because, let's say, for example, we're now a global economy and you're doing a deal with somebody in a different country with slightly different data protection laws. The contract can be, the way it's opened, the way it's accessed, or the way it's stored can be slightly different in their country to comply with their data protection laws than it is in your country to comply with your data protection laws. Now, you can't do that on fixed blockchains like Bitcoin, for example, but you will be able, and I say will because it's still in development, you will be able to do that with ADA. And then once a contract is completed and payment is due, for example, then it drops onto the other blockchain and where ADA is transacted and contracts are honored. So that's really important. Now, if we go back over to HBAR, that's an amazing, a huge leap forward for blockchain technology, by the way. And actually, we're starting to lean towards blockchain potentially being scalable, which has been a massive thing for HBAR versus all the other cryptocurrencies. It's something that I've talked a lot about, is scalability, because that really is the number one, for me, it's the number one most important key when looking at the price and the value of a cryptocurrency, is its scalability, particularly in the race to be the world reserve currency, if you like. So over at Hedera Hashgraph, Hashgraph is not a blockchain. So it's Hashgraph technology. Now, I don't want this video to be an hour long, so I'm not going to go into explaining each of the points. I'll be explaining a lot more about ADA because it's not a video I've done before. But HBAR, if you want to learn more about HBAR and what the Hashgraph is, have a look at our other videos. So we've got the two-layered blockchain, multi-layered blockchain, rather than just the single blockchain, which is a massive step forward, as they say. Now, if we look at HBAR, it's got huge corporate backing. So as I've alluded to before in previous videos, Google, IBM, Boeing, London College of Economics, Dutch Communications, and loads of other companies, the largest bank in South Korea, the largest bank in Africa, they're all on the governing body, and they've got huge corporate backing. So that's a massive tick for me in the future success and potential of HBAR. But ADA's got strong pedigree too. So Charles Hoskinson is the co-founder of Ethereum, and he also is the founder of BitShares. So this is his third attempt at creating a cryptocurrency. And in anything in life, as I'm sure you all know from personal experience, you're always better at something the second time you ever go at it, and then the third time you get better and better and better. Great pedigree with Charles. He's a guy that's trustworthy and knows what he's doing. So yes, HBAR has got the huge corporate backing, and I don't think that any other cryptocurrency in the space has got that bigger tick in the checklist as Hedera Hashgraph does with the names. I just think the weight behind them is just so massive and so important as a cornerstone to the future of HBAR. But ADA does have strong pedigree. Okay, proof of stake, and it's decentralized. So ADA is not proof of work, but proof of stake. That means that it's far more scalable, which again is very important, and uses far less electricity than a lot of the other cryptos. There are other proof of stake cryptocurrencies, but ADA is considered, in my mind, is considered sort of the forefront leader of the proof of stake revolution. And it just means that I'm not going to get into proof of stake. I can do a video, proof of stake versus proof of work, and explain that. That's not a problem. If you wish, please leave a comment below if you want me to do that. But proof of stake just means that a lot less electricity is consumed, so it's better for the planet, and it also means cheaper fees because there isn't the cost of electricity to the people that make the machine work, if you like. And they're decentralized. So ADA is already decentralized, so that means that there's no one body in charge of ADA that could corrupt it or anything like that. It is decentralized. Now, to be fair, HBAR, they're not currently decentralized, which means that everything is done in-house. So the way the machine works, the engine is maintained in-house. So we can't see below the bonnet, which I don't have too much of an issue with, because I trust, and again, it comes back to this huge corporate backing, I trust the brand of HBAR. So I'm less concerned about the decentralized thing, but I know that the cryptocurrency community as a whole find it very, very important that the cryptocurrency is decentralized. But HBAR does have plans to decentralize shortly. So, and I think they're going to be rolling that out in the next year or so. So at the moment, yeah, decentralized, and that's a tick in the cryptocurrency box for the community. But HBAR does plan to do that, so less of a win for ADA if plans go ahead. So scalability via sharding versus gossip protocol. This is really exciting, and it's not a blow because it's not necessarily competition. I mean, it is for the purposes of this discussion, but it is a blow to HBAR in that HBAR was so superior and is so superior to all of the other cryptocurrencies for loads of the reasons that I've listed in previous videos. However, scalability via sharding. So what is that? And I've put 10,000 transactions per second ? And it is a question, it's a theory at the moment, but from what I've read about it, I think it's going to work. And it basically means that the more people that join the network, the quicker the network runs. The quicker the network runs, the more people that join it. The more people that join it, the quicker it runs. So it's a positive cycle. With Bitcoin, the more people that join it, and a lot of the other cryptocurrencies, not bullying on Bitcoin, the more people that join it, the slower it runs. And let me explain very, very kind of like briefly how that kind of works. Imagine on Bitcoin, imagine that there's computers that are like referees, and the referees record in a book all of the transactions that take place in the world. But all the referees are all writing down every transaction. Now you imagine, after a lot of transactions, that book is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now you imagine that all of these referees are writing down every transaction that takes place in the world. That book is huge. The bigger the book gets, i.e. the more people that join the network and are transacting on the network, the more transactions there are to record, the book is getting bigger quicker, which means the people who have to write it down are slower because they're having to carry around this huge book with them. And the problem is getting worse because the book is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and so I'm getting slower and slower trying to carry this bloody book around. With sharding, I only have to write down the transactions that I'm involved with. So if somebody's buying a Mars bar in Japan, I'm nothing to do with it. I don't have to record that in my book. So my book is a lot smaller. And the more computers, the more referees that are making these records that join, the load of those transactions is shared more and more and more. So my book is lighter and lighter and lighter. So you can have one book, which is super heavy and a pain in the backside to carry around with 1 million transactions in it. Or you can have 1 million little pocket books with one transaction in it. So it's just a different way of doing it that means that the system isn't slowed down and bogged down with the amount of information that is being recorded forever in this huge ledger that I'm having to carry around with me and that all the other referees are having to carry around with them. No, I'm just carrying the book of the things that I see. So I see something, I write it down. I see something, I write it down. But I'm not writing down stuff I don't see. So that's the kind of, I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, Bill? You get that, yeah? So that's kind of how this ADA is different and how it's going to be scalable. And they reckon once enough people are on the network, they're going to be able to do tens of thousands of transactions. Not 10,000 per second, but tens of thousands of transactions per second. Yet to be seen, talk is cheap, but there's real theory behind the claim. Obviously, this isn't a conversation with HBAR because we've got gossip protocol. So everybody knows what everybody knows. And because of gossip protocol and because of proxy voting, which I've explained in previous videos, you don't even have to know. Everybody votes on behalf of everybody else. And because everybody knows what everybody else knows, there is no book to carry around. So the last point I've come to, which is a really important thing I mentioned at the beginning, is PR power. This is something I think that HBAR fails on hugely, my personal opinion. A lot of people ask me, if HBAR is this amazing new revolution, a massive leap forward, I often compare it as all the other cryptocurrency are horses and this is a spaceship. But if this is so good, Max, why is it only 20p, 30 cent per HBAR? And I think it's a massive underestimated quality in the crypto space and in all other industries. Now, let me give you an example. So public relations power, I don't think Hedera Hashgraph are very good at it. And I think other cryptocurrencies are exceptionally good at it. And sometimes it doesn't matter how good your technology is, you can still lose or come second or not be the favorite because the other guy had a much better PR company behind him and had a much better way of selling their product, if you like. If we consider these two to be products, who's got the better PR campaign? Who's got the better adverts? Who's out there spreading the word? Hedera Hashgraph are very, very bad, in my opinion. They've got a fantastic website, but who knows about it? Who's talking about it? Except me and a few other guys on YouTube's and a few other platforms. Nobody really. Whereas everyone is talking about, Doge with Elon Musk and so on and so forth. So an ADA has got a far better PR power, far stronger PR power than Hedera Hashgraph. And give some real life examples of how important that is. Casio make watches. And Casio, you can buy a Casio, I was looking at one the other day, you can buy a Casio watch, it'll tell you the time, it'll stop start, and you can do running races and all sorts of things with this Casio. The new ones will even take your pulse, and you can buy them from anywhere from 12 quid to, if you go nuts and you're the big boy of Casio, you're buying a £100 watch. And it'll do all sorts, it'll answer the phone for you and do all these crazy things. It's waterproof to 10,000 meters or whatever. Now, that's a 100 quid watch. Rolex will only tell you the time, and some of them tell you the day and the date. So the Rolex day date will tell you the day, the date, and the time, and that is it. They're not even great at keeping time, if I'm completely honest. In my personal experience, they run, after about a year, you're a couple of minutes behind. They're not digital. They don't glow in the dark. I can't tell the time at night. It's really hard. It doesn't tell me my pulse. It doesn't tell me when I should eat or if I've got enough water. It doesn't do any of that, but it's 20,000 quid. So on paper, if I said to you, this watch will tell you the time, the day, and the date, and it's made out of a expensive material, gold or whatever it may be, but this watch is waterproof to this, tell you your pulse, tell you if you're dying, tell you if you're going to have a heart attack, whatever, answers your phone for you, and is 100 quid, well, it's obvious that this one's a flop. It's never going to go anywhere. If we're in Dragon's Den day one, or I'm an alien, I've come down to Earth, and you're explaining these two to me, well, this one's never, it's so much more expensive. It doesn't do as much, but this one's a raging success. And Casio, they're doing great. I'm sure they're doing okay. But I mean, Rolex is one of the most valuable brands in the world. So what is it about Rolex that's so much better than Casio that means that people are willing to pay 20,000 quid for a Rolex and only 100 quid for a Casio? Well, it's this. It's PR power. The day-date president it's called the President Watch because some genius at Rolex had an idea of sending one to the President of the United States. He wore it, he got seen wearing it, and it just grew from there. Rolex is a massive, massive brand. There are loads of people that tell me I shouldn't have an iPhone because it's not as good as the Galaxy whatever, or it's not as good as this, or it's not as good as that. And actually, they're not that technologically advanced. The camera's 4K, and I should have an 8K and blah, blah, but I love iPhone. Why? Well, because it's because of the branding and the PR. So this is a warning to the wise. If you follow my stuff again, you'll know that I'm a big believer in this project. And I do believe that it's that rock solid and it's got that big a corporate backing that in the end, it will win out. Now, that doesn't mean that all the others lose. It's not a zero-sum game. Each crypto, I think they'll become like, in the future, they'll be like car brands. There were 300 car brands, now there's about 10. You go to Land Rover if you're on a 4x4, you go to BMW if you're a driver, or you go to Mercedes if you're a passenger, whatever. And each car brand has got its place and does its thing. But there will be the car brand, which I guess in the world is considered to be Ford. They sell the most or whatever. And I think that will be HBAR. HBAR will be the Ford of cryptocurrency. And this ADA may end up being BMW or whatever. So I do think they'll all have a place. And I do think that HBAR is so strong in its technology that it will win through. But they'd make things a lot easier for themselves. And the price, I think, would do great things if they got on board with the PR power. ADA have got the ADA Foundation. They're doing massive things, advertising, teaching people how to use it, communities. And I know these guys do, Leon Bird comes on and does the odd talk and stuff and thing, but it's not quite the same. It's not spreading as quickly as I think it should be, given how good it is. So you not necessarily have to be the best to win. You've just got to have the best PR guy. Okay, guys, thanks ever so much for watching. I hope this made a lot of sense. If you've got any questions, comments, please leave them below. If you want me to do another HBAR versus or ADA versus, please let me know. I might be doing an HBAR versus Ethereum. If you'd like to see that, I think that's going to be a lot more stark, by the way, because ADA is one of the best. By the way, if HBAR wasn't a thing, hadn't been invented, I'd probably be a big owner of ADA. So if you want to see those videos, please subscribe, give us a like, and leave comments below.